Hey, it's pronounced Vag and I'm Adam. And behind me I have two GTIs that are owned by my buddy Grant. And this one is for sale with a motor issue. However, this one, we just installed the brand new aerofabb V2 front splitter on it. This is a 2019 Urano Gray Rabbit Edition GTI. You might recognize the license plate here. I'll post a link to his Instagram in the description below. But the aerofabb splitter, we're gonna show you how to install it right now. Do you have a knife?
Yeah.
Let's cut this sucker open. It's stapled too?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all protected in there. It's in a box.
Box in a box.
It's a box in a box. Da 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 da. Oh, sweet. Instructions. Here's maybe a good note to people is that if you need cardboard for anything, these are great pieces to work with. So just order a splitter for the cardboard and you get a free splitter.
Perfect.
The aero brace. Nice.
Oh, cool. Little cut out there too.
Oh yeah. Nice. So you can see this is our first kind of look at this is the new texture of their products. Rich was telling me that, you know, there were some issues with the previous manufacturer of the plastic, where, you know, there was a nice smooth finish. I don't know if it was this smooth before, but a nice smooth finish, but they were having problems during shipping of those surfaces marring. And so the strength and durability of those surfaces was not as great as what this should be. So this should be very scratch resistant. And this is like what the splitter will look like too. Let's get it undressed. Oh yeah, you need some more plastic sheeting for those painting projects. Also, or order a aerofabb splitter. Yes. Well, there it is. Yeah, take a look at that edge. We'll do some maybe pretty shots. But having this edge right here really cleans up the look, I think. Is there more stuff underneath the...
There's gotta be some hardware.
Well, look, there's like some screws in here. Is this like the whole like... Oh, there's like wood. There's the hardware.
Brace.
Yeah. Look at the wood sticks in there, trying to keep this all straight so it doesn't get bent.
All right.
And then our hardware kit. We'll take a gander through all those pretty pieces in there, and we don't have to pull them all out right now, but you can even see just from the outside of the packaging all the labeling that's on every single piece. That's gonna help a ton. Yeah, get social. All right, we've got the car all jacked up and we're stepping through the instructions. One thing that I want to point out before we get going is that if you live in a corrosive environment, pick up some anti-seize for the threads on some of your hardware. Even though it is stainless steel, you know, aerofabb goes through some of the information about recommending some of this. All right, so one of the things before you actually start step number one that you're gonna have to do is, if you have any sort of under tray or splash guard, best to either just disconnect that or remove it in all, because there's at least one screw that's connected right about there and it kind of clips in. So there's just a few of the T25s to remove and you can just drop that so it's not connected to the bumper. First step is that we're going to be removing there's 4 T25 Torx screws on the inside of the wheel well on each side of the car. So inside the wheel well on either side, we've got 1, 2, 3, and then there's a fourth one pointing straight up. All 4 of those are really the only things that are holding in the bumper. So you do 4 of those on either side, pops off, and we'll show you how the bumper pulls out.
This lefty is tricky.
Damn Volkswagens.
Light it up.
See ya. The way that these bumpers come off is you just like start pulling this outward and it all pops off. All right, so Now that we've got screws off on the sides of the bumper, before we pull it off, we've got to take the grill out because there's some other connection points right under the grill. So taking out the two T25 screws on the top, gonna pop out the edges, real gentle like.
Okay.
That looks good, that sounds good.
Backwards. Okay.
There we go. And one reason that we're being super duper careful with this grill is that right behind the emblem on the Mark 7.5 is the adaptive cruise control sensor. So there's a wire connector that you don't want to just rip the grill out. You're going to want to be careful and make sure you unplug that. So I'll show you that here in just a sec. Hey everybody, Future Adam here. I have to interject in this video real quick because the way that all this went is not exactly per the instructions. When we were following the instructions, step one, say remove the bumper. But then we started adding our own, kind of without realizing it. We assumed that the grill had to be removed to be able to get the bumper off. Not the case. So what I'm about to show you is how you can disconnect just the top portion of the grill and then reach down in with a screwdriver to pop off the bumper tabs. There are 8 of them along the top side of the bumper when you're pulling that off. So the grill and the bumper can come off all as one piece. And then after I show you that, I'll show you some more detail about the grill if that's something that you're trying to take the grill off. But be warned, it took us probably an hour and a half with both of us yanking, pulling, pushing on tabs to actually get the grill off. It was painful. But just know that you can take the grill and the bumper off together if you choose to. And I think that's the way it's intended. So back to it. Okay, so I wanted to show you real quick what it looks like now that we know more than we knew before of, when you're taking the bumper off, take off all those pieces on the side, undo the screws, pop the tabs out on the top side of the grill, and then what you're able to do, if we can see down in there,
It's less flexible than it did before.
It does. Then what you can do is when you can see inside behind the grill here, this clip right here is what is holding on the bumper. So when you're pulling back on the bumper, you're gonna have to either yourself or somebody else go in and push these tabs down and they will pop out super easy. The whole bumper will come off with the grill attached. The only thing that you'll have to consider is that when you flip your bumper over, if you don't have sawhorses or something, you're gonna probably want to take your grill off, but it'll probably be a lot easier to do that with the whole bumper off. So
maybe a little tricky to get that sensor unplugged as well, because we had
Right.
this partially out.
Right.
Not quite halfway, but close to halfway, and then we disconnected the sensor, and then we went the rest
That's
of
true.
the way.
Yes.
So getting to the bottom side of that to pull it down and disconnect may be a little tricky, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah. So lesson learned from us, so you don't break your stuff.
Or your hands.
Or your hands, yep. All right, so one thing that we didn't really realize was going to be a super pain is pulling the grill out on the 7.5. The tabs are different style than on the Mark 7, where on my Mark 7R, the tabs are straight down. So it's a more of a lifting up and out procedure, where on, here we are looking at the grill for reference. There are 8 tabs that go outward, and so when you are looking down from the inside of, once you get this part lifted up, you're able to see these clips here. This, we broke that one, is not what you need to push on. There's a guide and tab down here that you get down with your screwdriver and you're able to lift up on it. They're super flexible. So don't be afraid to bend those. We found that we could really bend those and not have a problem. But then they all pull straight out. So what we did was we worked from, we just chose one side to start from, and then we worked all the way across. And Grant finally he-manned it. You're fine. You're fine.
There was the snap we were waiting for.
You got all 4 of them out on that side.
Holy sh**.
So the people who, like Last Human's Garage, and I don't recall, did Shop Dap also do the push down pull out method, or?
That's what they kind of talk about, but they do mention on the Shop Tap video that you have to lift up. It was that specific
Yes.
that we're like,
Yeah,
oh.
being able to get under the tab and lifting up.
Kind of has to come, there's a little notch here.
Yeah.
To lift it up.
So here, let's take a look at the bumper real quick. Now that you got all nice and cleaned up. So here's where those tabs, we'll show the detail. Let's see if my camera will focus. Okay, so the tab basically slides in underneath this lip and comes through and hooks over that little square rectangle piece. And there's 4 of them on each side of the grill. And so this literally, like, you just pull straight out. It's not gonna feel good. And it just starts popping off. It just pulls straight out. It already popped out for me. Yeah, just start right here at this corner and work along that edge. Don't be scared. Use your He-Man ability.
You did it once. There we go.
Woo!
There it goes.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a connection over here.
Yeah, there's one on each side.
Ha-ha!
Sweet.
Frankenstein.
Now it's really broken.
So next instruction is to actually put the splitter on the bumper here. And at this point where Grant already removed the T25s that were at this furthest point, you remove those, you put the splitter on, and then you put the screw back in, and that will align exactly where the splitter needs to go. I think that is super duper smart of aerofabb to just use an existing OEM point that everybody's gonna just be able to put it directly in place where it needs to go without, you know, trying to tape it in place and stuff and align it on their own. We're about to get this splitter up on the bumper. One thing I wanted to show real quick, or maybe I'll show when it's on the bumper too. This material is about 1/4 inch thick. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that it feels, and actually measured it just briefly, but it's about 1/4 inch thick. I thought it was gonna be a little bit thicker, but I think this low profile and thin design is gonna look really sweet. We just screw that
Line
in
up
place.
the a-holes.
Yeah. Not super tight.
We're done.
How easy is that? Yeah, just throw it on the car.
If it flaps a little bit, that's what you want.
Now, with the alignment hardware A installed and the splitter secured on both ends, you drill through the 18 remaining splitter holes. And in the description here, it calls for a 1/4 inch drill bit, which is actually a little bit larger size than the holes that are here. So I think the purpose of that is so that you don't have any binding and that the hardware can actually slide right through there. All right, so we've got all of the holes drilled now. We're working through step number 6, where we're going to be putting the hardware in. We've got the bolt head here, the washer, and then a spacer goes right in between, and then we'll put the nut on the bottom side. And we're gonna do that for these 5 front, I guess 10 front bolt holes here. Okay, so that is step 6. Step 7, install hardware C through the remaining splitter holes C and tighten. So for reference here, now on these outer portions of the splitter, we're doing this bit where we're just putting the shorter stuff right through. Okay. Step 8 was to flip the bumper over. So we're doing that now. Grant is taking off all the nuts, and we're gonna put the aerofabb aero brace on. All right, we are prepping for the aero brace to go in. We've got the bolts in with the washer, putting the spacers on. Right in the dead center, there's this clip made for some like wiring harness that this bumper doesn't have. But what we had to do here to get the washer in was just push the bolt all the way down, slide the washer over, bring it back up, and looks like it'll just kind of fit in there snugly.
Serving up the pizza pies.
There we go. Yeah, putting down the pepperonis. All right, so if you're familiar with the front lip that I installed on my Golf R, where I made my own kind of aero brace for this old Flow Design lip I had. It was a lot easier. It was a flat piece. Look at all the detail that they had to go through. Rich and team had to go through. They cut around these little clip areas that and made sure that there was the right curve. Made sure that you were going to have the right spots to hit here. So it all fits in there really nicely.
Good to go. That was fast.
Come up and over. Awesome. We're like almost there, man. I think we gotta press these clips on here.
Oh, we do the center ones first.
Yeah. Okay. And then you just want to make sure that the bottom of the headlight, like as you're putting in the rest of the clips on the outside edge of the bumper.
Yep.
Then it just kind of sucks it up in there. Sweet. I'm just gonna use like the side of my fist to press it in there. All right, so I'm sure I showed this before, but I just want to show this detail again. So when we were putting on the bumper, we made sure that these center clips went on first. And here are those clips again, in case I didn't show them well before. So if you do leave the grill on when you're taking the bumper off, you're gonna have to kind of peel up the grill, get in with a screwdriver, and pop those as you're taking the bumper off. That will allow you not to have to remove the grill before taking the bumper off. So now we're at a point where we've got the bumper on. We're gonna get the 4 screws in there. We're gonna start screwing everything back on the bottom that we took off. Oh, and we'll put the grill back on.
Yeah, that,
So why don't you go ahead and just put it on there, Chief?
This bad boy.
Oh, that's right. You got to clip that on first. Yep. So you're just gonna want to set it right down on that bumper. That's why the tape will come in handy.
There it goes.
Nice.
Boy, that was satisfying. And clips are easy and cooperate.
Yep.